Good morning to anybody that's on the call. Tom Cartwright here, just setting up for our 8 a.m. Feel Fresh podcast. If you're new to the call, you'll notice that when you jump on, we do give you a raw behind the scenes look. So when myself or Nat Hodges or any of our special guests are setting up, that's how we like it. So welcome to behind the scenes. We'll begin in about 30 seconds, just giving a few more people a chance to jump on the call, and then we'll dive into it. And of course, if you're on the call, scroll above or below, you'll find a chat panel. You can say hello and even comment through any questions. Would love to hear from you. Okay, we're ready to rock and roll. Welcome to this week's episode of the Drink Less Feel Fresh podcast series, live every Monday at 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Time. If you're on this call live, scroll above the chat panel, say hello. And if you're watching this recording on Spotify, or maybe you're watching the video recording on YouTube, this is my welcome to you. We're diving into a topic. And before we dive into it, it's very important to know, you'll notice that last week and this week, the incredibly talented head of behavioral program design at Drink Less Feel Fresh, Nat Hodges, has not been with us. Very unfortunate. However, he is traveling the globe at the moment, so he'll be back with us in a couple of weeks. Please jump into the chat panel for those of you that are on live. Let me know if that's okay. We are going to dive into a topic that matters so much, and a topic that's not often looked at. And when I share it with you, I'll say it this way. If you're looking to change your relationship with alcohol, if you're finding it hard to change your relationship with alcohol, if you're finding that you're often battling alcohol and missing out on life, then this podcast today is going to be right up your alley. Good morning to those of you that are jumping into the chat panel. Thanks very much. Great to see you here. Got someone from New South Wales. We have someone from Western Australia. Fantastic. One of the biggest problems when it comes to changing your relationship with alcohol is not how you go about changing your relationship with alcohol. It's not one of the biggest problems with alcohol reduction is not what you do. It's not, do I do a detox? How do I stop today? What do I do with cravings? The biggest challenge and obstacle in a relationship with alcohol is actually how you think about the journey ahead of you. Okay? I'll say it again. The biggest obstacle, but also the area that can generate the most amount of growth for you, is how you view the journey in the first place. When somebody is approaching their alcohol reduction journey from an unhealthy mindset, it's very hard to create change. Unhealthy, I'll give you an example. I'm only here because I need to be here. I'm only doing this because people around me say I drink too much. I only want to drink less, excuse me. I only want to drink less alcohol. Everything's perfect in my life. It's just the alcohol that's causing me troubles. Those would be unhealthy approaches to changing your relationship with alcohol. What that means is you're not really here because you want to be here. There's not ultimately too much to look forward to. You can die of the pain. That causes a lot of people challenges and obstacles. What we really need to understand, and it's funny, I just mentioned that the incredibly talented Nat Hodges is with us today. However, this podcast episode was inspired by one of his beautiful pieces of content that he teaches and educates at Drink Less Feel Fresh to all of our members. And it's that to any ending, there is a new beginning. To any ending, there isn't a new beginning. Most people want to start drinking less alcohol or go sober because they want to end the cycle of alcohol in their lives. Let's try that on for a second. Is that why you're here? Have you showed up to this podcast? Are you watching this live or watching the recording or listening on Spotify as you jog on a treadmill or drive your car because you want to end something that's been happening in your life? Is that why Often it is. Often we just want it to stop. One of the things we often miss out on is that to every ending, there is a new beginning. And a lot of people, Nat Hodges and I have been in the industry for almost 15 to probably closer to 20 years now, teaching, training, educating, coaching individuals to break addictive behaviors and patterns and live with choice and freedom. One of the most common experiences we see is that people forget that there's actually a beginning here. And I invite you today, as you're listening to this episode, to just check in and ask yourself, what beginning? What am I beginning? I'll say again, to every ending, there is a new beginning. We must be aware that whilst we're ending a relationship we once had with alcohol, we're really because of a new beginning. You might be thinking, well, what am I beginning? And these are the conversations that are going to matter so much. This is the conversation that will propel most of your success when it comes to changing your relationship with alcohol, which is kind of, why are you here? The majority of people get so stuck fighting alcohol that what they do for 3 to 6 years is they fight alcohol. And what I want you to be aware of is that often we fight alcohol so much that we forget to fight for what actually matters most. Fighting against alcohol does not matter most. The question is, what do I want to be fighting for? What are you beginning? What is this the new beginning of? 100% of individuals that Nat Hodges and I work with that come to us Feel Fresh memberships and programs are not the same people they were when they started. What does that mean? They all began on a new journey. It's very important. If you really want to succeed, if you really want to reduce your alcohol intake, if you really want to create a relationship with alcohol that you love and respect, whether it's drinking in moderation or never drinking again, if you want to respect alcohol the way you do or do not consume it, you must take a moment to answer this question. What is this the new beginning of? Are you beginning to get back to that version of you that's calm and confident? Are you rebuilding that version of you that's relentless, that can experience uncomfortable social situations and push forward anyway? Are you someone who is here to begin your ultimate health and vitality journey? Are you someone who's here who's about to begin mother or fatherhood in a calm and conscious way? Are you here who's someone who's about to begin the journey of being present and authentic with yourself? So whilst one door closes, another door opens. And whilst this topic today was inspired by Nat Hodges and something he recently delivered to our Drink Less Feel Fresh members, it's one of my deepest passions, is that traditional programs often support people to continue fighting against alcohol. What that looks like is battling cravings on a day-to-day basis, waking up every day and fight, but I'm going to fight it. It's a constant need to fight the desire or alcohol in the first place. And I appreciate that that is very beneficial and that is really important. But it's not what we do at Drink Less Feel Fresh. It's not what we do on these Monday Feel Fresh AF podcasts. Why? Because the energy you put into battling alcohol could go into the energy that you put into battling the rebirthing, the rebuilding, the new journey that you actually want to venture on. So my question once again for you, whether you're live on this call or listening to the recording, why are you here and what are you beginning? And as you answer that question, what comes up? Because chances are there'll be a sense of deeper hope, deeper passion, maybe even deeper contentment, and maybe even a little bit of excitement. And this is so important on your alcohol reduction journey. If you're not eager, if you're not leaning in, if you're not curious, if you're not excited for the beginning of this journey, chances are something's wrong. Chances are something is missing. We are live, so I'm going to have, if it's okay with you, I'm going to have a sip of my delicious green tea this morning as you ponder that question. Why are you here and what are you beginning? If you're listening to this live, jump into the chat panel and let me know. And for any of our podcast listeners, always feel free to email me info@drinklessfeelfresh.com with any answers or questions from the podcast, and I'll personally make sure you're looked after or share more value on it. So really clearly, one more time, to each ending, there is always a new beginning. And if you're not aware of the beginning, you'll cling on to the ending. Oh, that just got a little spicy, didn't we? Didn't it? Try this on. To each ending, there is always a new beginning. But if you're not aware of what you're beginning, you'll cling on to the ending. This is actually experience. I was speaking to a beautiful woman. Her name is Sam. She's one of our support crew at Drink Less Feel Fresh. Sam's been sober for 18 years. And Sam was sharing with me this approach, this mindset to alcohol reduction. She was aware that she was clinging on to the ending of what was no longer serving her. And whilst it helped in the beginning, she actually became stuck to that. What did that look like for her? Well, she was living free. She had choice. She hadn't had a drink in years. But in her mind, she was still having to wake up every day and fight alcohol. And Sam and I collaborated earlier in the week. We ran a live Q&A that we run for our Drink Less Feel Fresh members. And Sam was talking this. And I think it's an important thing that's generally not often spoke about in the alcohol reduction industry. You don't need to continue fighting against alcohol. If you are, chances are you don't know what you're fighting for. Again, the time, the energy, the energy that we put into fighting against alcohol. Imagine if that was directed towards the energy of building motivation for yourself, adding more adventure into your life, learning how to connect more authentically with people, learning to live with deeper levels of honesty, learning to look after your health, learning to create a clear, calm, and stable mind, learning to let go of your past, learning to embrace your future whilst also living in the moment. These are often beginnings that people want to embark on, and sometimes they just don't know. To every ending, there is a new beginning. And for the individuals that embark on a new beginning, seem to absolutely crush their alcohol reduction goals and commitments on a much more dramatic level, to be honest, than individuals who are still just trying to close and end something that was in their lives for a long period of time. I'll give you a vulnerable example, and vulnerable meaning new, recent, haven't really thought about how to deliver this to you, it just came up. Recently, I was collaborating with a specialist on a certain area of my own health. And it's an area that I've wanted to look into for a long time. And this person said to me, after about an hour and a half collaboration and pretty much a professional consultation, she said really bluntly, she said, this area of your health needs a lot of work, right? Often something that someone would feel when they share how much they're drinking and they want to drink less. And maybe, I might say to them, well, look, there's going to be a fair bit of work that needs to be done here. You've been over consuming alcohol for a long time. This is going on. This is going on. This is what's going on in your body. Anyway, so I was speaking to this incredible individual and great professional. And they said, look, this is going to take quite a lot of time and it's going to be quite expensive for you. And as she said that, she also said, so what we can do is we'll wrap up the conversation and you can come back to me and let me know if you're up for it. Now, when someone says to me, this is going to take a lot of work, what I hear is this is going to create great results for yourself, because anything that's easy is not worth doing. So I knew that she was a good specialist, and I leaned into the I leaned into the camera. It was a Zoom call because they're not near me location wise. I leaned in and I said something like this: let's do it. Send me the invoice today. It'll be paid today. I'm keen. I can't wait. And the reason why is because these days I don't approach what's called problematic areas with hesitation. I look at problematic areas and ending certain things. Even, we're talking today about alcohol reduction and closing the door on our relationship with alcohol. I've done that a long time ago, so it's not appropriate for me to share a BS example. This is a real example that I was experiencing in another area of health for me. I'll say it again. The difference that makes all the difference is not what you do, it's how you approach it. And those of us that approach alcohol reduction with fear, guilt, shame, shouldn't be here, wish I wasn't here, I'm only here because I've got an issue, generally seem to struggle the most. Those that embrace the new journey ahead, the beginning, will experience much better results. And I already know, because of the way I view closing chapters and opening and beginning new chapters, I'm not only excited, I'm not only keen to spend my time, my energy, and a lot of money on this area of my health, I know it's going to work and I'm going to have incredible results. I just know that without a shadow of a doubt because of how I'm viewing it. If anybody's on the, or for those of you, I know there are, for those of you that are on the live podcast recording, feel free to jump into the chat panel and let me know, is this resonating or landing? Or if you have a question, comment it through. And for those of you that are listening live, for those of you that are listening to this podcast, just sit with that question for a moment. What are you beginning? What are you about to embark on? And learning to focus your time and your energy into this new beginning will be so worth it. I often say to individuals that the aim of the game isn't to stop drinking. The aim of the game is to live your best life. And often to live your best life, it's worth making the down payment of not drinking. Do you love that? I think that's such a beautiful approach. The aim of the game isn't to be sober. The aim of the game is to rebuild the best version of yourself. The aim of the game is to live a life that you'd want to live twice. I think that's a great quote. That was actually one of my clients a few years ago actually said that to me. I said, what would be a life worth living? And he responded with such a beautiful comment. He said, I would know I've lived my best life if I got to do life a second time and I'd live the same life again. And I thought, wow, how beautiful is that, team? How beautiful is that? Life is about rebuilding the best version of you and living a life that you're so proud of. You'd be happy to live it a second time. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was over drinking and gambling and stuck in addiction, I would not have answered that question with, yes, I'll do this life again. I would have been like, no way. These days, of course. I would absolutely love to live this life again. Loving all of the comments coming through. Beautiful, fantastic. To each ending, there is always a new beginning. Those of you that start to clarify and move towards and accept and embrace the new beginning will definitely experience better results regarding two things. Your alcohol reduction will reduce dramatically. And number two, you'll enjoy the journey at the same time. Most people sacrifice one of those. They sacrifice the need to live a healthy life and they consume alcohol so they get to enjoy life to as much as they can. I hear people say to me, oh, but I love a glass of champagne. Oh, I love a glass of wine. That's great. Great to hear that you love things. That's fantastic. But are you experiencing the results you want? They say, no, I'm drinking too much. And then often people sacrifice the first thing. They sacrifice the fun, the love, the passion, the excitement, and they live 20 years never drinking again, but battling it. Every day's tough, annoying, frustrating, difficult. You can have the best of both worlds. You can reduce your alcohol intake and enjoy it at the same time. And if you like that approach, then for the remainder of the day, continue to sit with and ask yourself, why am I here and what am I about to begin? What am I embarking on? And it will have nothing to do with closing the chapter. It has nothing, this might scare a few people off. It has nothing to do with drinking less alcohol. Drinking less alcohol is just a step to help you begin the new journey. Drink Less, Feel Fresh members, I trust you have absolutely loved this week's episode of the Monday Feel Fresh AF live podcast conversation sessions. If you are watching the recording of this either on YouTube or Spotify and you would like to kickstart every week feeling fresh AF with a bit of accountability, a few insights, and even potential option to comment some questions through and have me or Nat Hodges answer them live, please feel free to register. Head to the www.drinklessfeelfresh.com website to register, or if you're ever watching one of these podcasts or listening to one of these podcasts or watching live and you have any personal questions, please send them through to info@drinklessfeelfresh.com. I personally manage those emails and make sure any questions that come through or any feedback that comes through is personally attended to. Here's to crushing Monday. Here's to having an incredible week ahead. Here's to drinking less and feeling fresh. I'll see you the same time, same place next Monday. Bye for now.